to?
So when we think about clothes, we think about this romance, and this idea that they become kind of part of you. That was one important part within the collection. We have a narrative and we have a story, which is totally fine, but you need to have a love for I would say like chapters within a collection. You have a chapter with your fabrics, you engage and you love your fabrics. You have a chapter which is about shape and proportion and detail. I think you need to believe from the beginning. I think that's what we did with this collection. We believed in an idea, we believed in a romance, a story, and that's what we took to kind of make Mercii a reality, really. I think the most important thing was like there was a belief in the idea, as I've said before. I think without that, you can't love what you do, you can't love what the collection is to become, and you constantly create. The product will always evolve, and seasons along the line that will continue to evolve. But where we are at with Abigail at the moment is a very, I would say, a comfortable place, not the perfect place, but the place where we want it to be. Colour and shape are two very, very important factors when, for me, as a creative. When you start to think about palettes, you become, you can be very brave or you play very safe. From an aesthetic perspective, I try and find a balance between softer tones against your very, as we describe them, very commercial colourways. I have a real affiliation or a real connection with ink navies, dark navies, French navies, which are always really beautiful colourways, which then balance against really lovely colours like camels and fuchsias and pale blues, etc. And that's what we tried to do with this season, was like find this balance. As it was summer, for me, we needed it to be fresher, not colourful, but fresher. And I think the colours that we've introduced for the season have really epitomised this palette. Silhouette has always been key for me. I've always been a real lover of proportion and detail and finer details. The proportions really came from my own aesthetic, which has kind of developed over the last 25 years, I would say. Slightly looser. I always call it like the 90s Armani silhouette, which, as I was growing up and very young in my early days, not even my early career, I would say university, you were kind of drawn towards this really beautiful kind of softer, more elegant kind of tailoring, and this wider draped silhouette that came from the shirts and the trousers, and it's always kind of resonated with me as a shape, and it's the way I dressed from a very, very young age. Everything was slightly cut bigger, and it all of a sudden merged and became part of my own personal style, and then became a real important part within my practice.